This is the Vet Alumni Podcast with Tek Prem.
It's the Vet Alumni Podcast. I'm Tek, he's Prem, and we're back.
Finally.
The Phils are back in action this weekend.
Exciting.
They're in Pittsburgh, then Minnesota. Then they come back home. They play the Guardians and the Yankees. Then they go on the road to play the Mariners, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks.
It's a tough slate.
This Pittsburgh, look, I know Skeens or whatever the game won, that's probably going to be a loss.
It could
right?
be. It could also be a 3-2 win.
Maybe.
Because the Pirates don't really tear the cover off the ball.
No, they better win this series, is my point.
Because, I absolutely agree.
Because they're going into look, 5 of these 7 teams are top 10 teams in Major League Baseball.
Absolutely. We talked about this 2 months ago, too.
Yeah, this is the toughest stretch of the season as anticipated.
Absolutely is, man. But you know what? You have the benefit of the fact that the Braves had a chance to separate themselves or get closer, rather.
I'm not worried about them anymore.
And they haven't really done it.
Unless the Braves go on a 5-game winning streak and the Phillies go on a 5-game losing streak, then you're in trouble.
Well, let's take a look at something here, and this is important, Tek. The Braves start with 6 winnable home games. St. Louis and then Cincinnati. Cincinnati's scrappy, though. They're a good squad.
Yeah.
And then they got to go to New York. The Mets are nothing special. Then they go to Milwaukee, tough series. But then you got Miami at home, Milwaukee again at home. Then they get Colorado,
Milwaukee's
San Francisco.
Tough. Milwaukee's tough.
LA Angels. I'm telling you, Tek, I'm looking at this Braves schedule.
It's the total opposite of the Philly schedule.
For the next 3 weeks, it is. I could see, and I said this maybe a month ago. I said, I think there's going to come a point this season where the Braves get to between 4 and 6 games out behind us.
This could be that time.
But if the Phils manage to just go 500 over the stretch you just described.
I said in 18 games that if they can go 10-8.
They'll go 10-8 or 11.
I'm fine with it.
This team is really good. They could go 11-7 in that stretch.
I'm not saying they can't.
They could. But I hear you, man. It's not really pretty on paper. You're going to have to see. If Ranger Suarez...
He's a problem.
If he's not the Ranger
now. It's a month. It's a problem.
It's almost more when you take. I got to take it back to when he got hit in the hand in Colorado.
It hasn't been the same since.
Hasn't been the same.
Nope,
since.
he hasn't been the same. He's
had spurts where he got out of trouble.
And since JT's been out, Wheeler ain't been the same. And now Wheeler's having back problems. Wheeler's not 100%. Ranger's not 100%. Luckily, JT will be back. The offense should be okay.
Baseball season's a marathon.
Yeah,
I
get it. And look. Our last show 2 weeks ago, the sky was falling.
It wasn't falling for you.
Bryce was going to be out 6 weeks. Schwarber was going to miss a month. They're both back. They literally missed 12 days.
They're going to trade for one. I heard Randy Arozarena, who's really on their list right now.
I saw that.
Can you imagine adding that? That guy's he's got a Philly. He's a Philly ball player, that guy.
And we have to trade with Tampa, right? It's Tampa.
Yeah. But you're talking about a former American League Championship Series MVP, right? Or
yeah, I think
Arozarena was.
Look, he's a good
player. He won some brass.
And some rumors have come out that inside the organization, they've already said they are not interested in Jazz Chisholm or Luis Robert.
I don't want either of those guys.
Me neither.
Give me the Brent. I've been saying it for how many months, Tek?
Here's the
Brent Rooker is the guy you want. So here's the problem with Brent
Rooker, and this is what I see. So Whit Merrifield is gone. They released him finally, which I didn't think they were going to do because it's rare that mid-season they admit a mistake.
I know.
I know. So they did that.
I'm glad, though. I'm glad they did that.
It raises the question who they replace him with.
Right.
I don't think it'll be one of those other two guys or Bellinger or Ian Happ because those are everyday guys.
I mean, Bellinger.
They're not trading for an everyday
player.
guy.
Bellinger's a nice player, and he's under contract for another season. See, that's a guy that you get, and you're saying, I want to have a chance to win the World Series, not just this year.
But he's got to play every day. He's an everyday player.
That's fine.
He's in your life every.
That's fine.
Who are you taking out of the line?
You're moving Marsh to left field, and you're putting Bellinger in center. What do you mean? And then you got Castillo right, and that's your everyday lineup. Who you're dropping Pache or Rojas? What's wrong with that from your everyday lineup?
I don't want to drop Rojas forever.
No, I don't mean forever. I mean he's your number one. He's your number one defensive replacement at that point. If you trade for Cody Bellinger or Brent Rooker, if you get Brent Rooker,
Brent Rooker is a terrible fielder.
I don't care. He's the guy's hitting 270 with 60 RBIs, 20 home runs.
Another guy, but they're not. listen, I believe the Phillies are going to make, and I don't want to use the word minor here, but they're going to replace Witt. Witt is a platoon guy. He's
not till he came here.
But he was a platoon guy here.
But I'm saying his whole career up to now, he was
an everyday guy until he came here.
Every day until he came here. That's what I mean.
So whoever they do bring in is going to be a platoon guy. The best one that fits that, I guess, is Rooker. But here's the problem: Rooker has to be a decent fielder, and he stinks.
Yeah, they won't.
He's a terrible fielder.
They won't do that. I know, but
and on top of it, he might have out-showcased himself here because now they're at first they were looking at Ring Cones and some other minor guy. Now it's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
First of all, nobody. I'm not trading one of our top 3 guys, our top 3 prospects for. I don't care what Tom Kelly or anybody or Joe Giglio or anybody said.
I don't agree
on the
with
radio.
You.
I'm not giving him up for anybody.
I don't agree with you.
Not named Kyle Tucker. If you're Kyle Tucker,
Jared, did you see Jaron Duran in the All-Star game? Did you see? I've been talking about Durant for months.
But the Red Sox are not out of it.
Right, but they're not a World Series team, and they know that.
But they're not out of it.
They know that, though.
But as long as they're not out of it, I can't see them doing it.
I hear you,
and
man.
I don't see Kyle. Look, I think you got a better shot of convincing the Mets to trade you Pete Alonso than getting Kyle Tucker. And I don't think you got any shot in hell to get Pete Alonso.
Here's why I don't have a problem with getting rid of any of these, quote, top prospects. Number one, 4 of your top 11 prospects in your system are shortstops. That's number one.
Well, those guys can go.
Right.
Except Miller.
Number 2, you need to win a World Series this year. So if that means you can add an impact player, whether it's a pitcher or an outfielder, and you got to get rid of Miller or Crawford, I don't care what his name is. I don't care, Tech. You want to win a World Series this year. You have to do Dombrowski has to do everything possible to win a ring this year.
Miller's considered a phenom. Crawford's your future in the outfield who replaces Castellanos. And I don't want to move them. I just don't want to move those guys. And Painter, untouchable. Painter, you don't move pitching. You don't trade pitching. Painter, look at the spot you're in now. They came in with 6 guys, and now they could be down to 3. That means 2 potential bullpen games.
Well, you got
or Tyler Phillips or Mercado or whatever.
Turnbull will come back, though.
Or they might have to rush back, what's his name? Taijuan Walker, who I never want to see again.
Well,
they might have to rush him back.
He actually was good in the London series, and then he was good the game right after that, and then all of a sudden he went right back into the blister magically appeared.
Yeah, the fake injury. That, by the way, Turnbull getting hurt screwed their whole thing up. Even though, look,
it did.
Mercado had a good start, and then he was so bad in that second start that was it for him.
Yeah.
And Tyler, and I agree with my dad who said, you got to give him a third start. Nope. He was so bad that he didn't even give him a third start.
Well,
they moved Tyler Phillips in.
And Phillips actually performed well.
We'll see. We'll see if he gets a second start.
His start, he did. Yeah,
we'll see what he does
that's true.
in his second start.
Sometimes that adrenaline in that first start, like the same thing happened with Mercado. It's your first start. The adrenaline, you pitch well, you get out of trouble.
And with Phillips, it was extra because he's from the area. So, like, his whole family was there. It was a very sentimental mood.
Had his son on the field.
The kid gives up a home run. I'm pulling what's ever left of my hair out, and I look, and they're showing his family on TV. I'm like, this ain't the time for that.
There's a picture of him at the vet with his dad.
Yeah, it's like when Sirianni, it's like they lose, and Sirianni's at the press conference with his kids. Get out of here with that. I don't want to see your kids
just real
after
quick,
a loss.
Because you mentioned Sirianni. Did you see the news about Big Bill Belichick wants to come back to coaching in 2025, and the Eagles had like the 3rd highest odds to hire him?
I think it's an NFC East. I think he's most likely going to the Giants, but the Cowboys will be in the news about him. Oh, Jerry Jones, but
he's not good for this franchise because of the
he'll
way
go to the Giants.
It would clash with Howie.
He loves New York, the Giants.
That's where he started. Well, he started with Cleveland, I think, but
but the Giants, he looks at them as like the storied franchise, and he's.
That's fine. Let him go there, and we can beat him while he's there.
Yeah, without Brady.
I just saw this news yesterday. So.
Yeah, without Brady, all right.
TV Tom.
Yeah. The All-Star game, for me, it was forgettable. I watched the first inning, and after that, I completely lost interest. But the home run derby, Alec Boehm, he did pretty well in a home run derby that he was never going to win. So I looked at it like going in. I'm like, Boehm's not a power home run hitter guy.
Hey, it's a great showing though.
But he
came within
really
one home run of the finals, and no one expected that.
No one expected it because he's not that guy. But that's why he was never going to win.
And at that point, if
But
they
he
would have
did
went with
good.
total home runs, he would have won the tiebreaker. If they would have went with total home runs, which they probably should have made that the tiebreaker.
Yeah, he actually did way better.
I know.
Than I had anticipated.
I was happy for Bomer. I watched it later than I expected to because I said to myself, I'm only going to watch this until Alec is eliminated. And
right.
That's what I did. And how about
that's what I did.
How about that
That's what I did.
That poor girl singing that horrible national anthem?
I don't even know who that is.
She's a Grammy-nominated singer.
I heard that, and I still have no idea
and Tek,
who she is.
As a newly minted Grammy voter, I am outraged. I am outraged that girl
was nominated
for anything. And I said to my girl, I said, they need to keep the tired, drugged-out white girl shtick away from this. I thought that's what she was doing. You know that tired white girl, drugged-out shtick that they do?
The very next day, she said, I'm going to rehab.
I said to myself, are you kidding me? I pinned it from the jump. I was like, she's either playing the drugged out Calvin Klein ad white girl thing.
Yeah.
That they've been pushing that weird drugged out girl thing
awful.
for years.
It's awful.
Or she's really drugged out. It's one or the other.
And she was really drugged out.
It wasn't just alcohol.
And look, I've never heard of this person. She appeared on the screen. I had no idea who she was. And as it was happening, I thought, this is instantly viral. And within 45 seconds of her ending, it was all over Twitter. Everybody was calling it the word. They were comparing it to Roseanne Barr.
Yo.
It was literally, and Roseanne Barr meant to be bad.
Right. And Fergie was the comparison I really saw.
Fergie was bad. Yeah, Fergie was bad.
That was pretty bad. It was
because Fergie, not a great singer.
Horrid. The next day, they went with a safe choice. They went with a country guy who couldn't mess it up.
Yeah. A lot of these country guys, they can really sing. I mean, throw one in there.
You can't mess it up.
You can't mess it up.
Pick a guy from Texas. He's not going to mess up the anthem.
Exactly. No. They live the anthem.
So do I, Tek.
All right, we'll talk Phils when we hit the vet line with Joe Booch.
BOOCHadelphia.
From Drunk on Broad. There are peoples, man. If you're not following Drunk on Broad, you're missing out.
Absolutely.
They are phenomenal. But first, brought to you by the Fairless Hills Academy of Music, it's time for VetPhact.
This is a VetPhact.
Well, Tek, in that fateful final year of the vet in 2003, on July 19th, the Montreal Expos, now the Washington Nationals, would come to the vet and drop an 11-inning affair to the Phils by a score of 4-3. Whew. Tomas Perez with the game-winning single in the bottom of the 11th inning. Jim Thome in the game with his 24th home run off of kind of the legendary Livan Hernandez.
Yeah.
In the 4th inning, a 2-out blast. Pat the Bat Burrell with his 13th off of Livan Hernandez. A full team effort. Placido Polanco lacing 3 hits, finishing the day with a 286 average. Marlon Byrd started the game with a 300-plus average, went 0 for 4, still finished the day with a 299. You know, this Phillies team had a chance to really do something that year. They were 54-41 after this game. They had a lot of really positive energy. People were excited. It was the last year at the vet, but they just couldn't get it done overall that season. Nevertheless, the Expos were horrendous on the day. 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Just an absolute horrid day at the plate.
Yeah.
The Phils, though, got a nice pitching performance from one Vicente Padilla.
Yeah.
Tosses 8 strong innings, scatters 6 hits, only allows 2 earned runs, and then the combination, get this, Tek, of Dan Plesac, Real Cormier, and Jose Mesa close out the final 3 innings, only allowing 1 hit. Mesa gets the win. The Phils knock off the Spos 4-3 in front of 28,794 fans. A game that took 3.5 hours, but it was a night game.
Very strange era of Phillies baseball.
Super strange era. In between the 93 and the 08 eras. You know, kind of a floating in Twilight Zone time for the Phils franchise. There you have it, Tek. July 19th, 2003.
There it is. The Sixers, Prem. They've been busy.
I mean, they made some moves, you know.
Before I get to the moves, I've been watching some of these Summer League games. I don't love the draft picks, especially McCain. He's like a diet maxi, struggling out there. Not sure if he'll contribute anything this year. Listen, I could be wrong. And then the Abona kid, the second-round pick, he's pretty good, but, I mean, we'll see. He's basically like the new Paul Reed. Not terribly impressed, but he's got size and athleticism, so, it's whatever. We'll see. All right, so the Sixers signed Paul George. They gave him the max, $212 million.
It's going to turn out to be a bad contract.
Well, they signed the best free agent available, I guess. He's a good third option. But my favorite two deals were, one, bringing back Andre Drummond, who was Embiid's best backup to date. I love that signing. And then two, re-signing Kelly Oubre, who was my favorite player last year. These two deals needed to be done. They were my favorite deals. So, okay, after that, Caleb Martin was a good signing. He turned down $65 million in Miami. Him and his agent, they misread the market. The Sixers took advantage. They got him for $30 million less.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice signing. That's a good player. That's a good locker room guy. A guy that just seems to get it.
He's still young and he's getting better every year. He's played well in the playoffs. That's a good signing. Then you got Eric Gordon. He's good, but I know he's only 35, right? But it feels like he's 55. And he's another guy who every year for like the past 5-6 years at the trade deadline has been rumored to being a Sixer. He's finally a Sixer.
Can I read you 5 sets of numbers and you can tell me what you think these are?
All right.
48, 54, 31, 56, 74. What do you think that succession of numbers is?
The amount of games Paul George has played in the last season.
In the last 5 seasons, you nailed it.
That's it? Paul George? I figured you were going to go Paul George there.
54, 31,
you know what's so funny?
56
is I recently had looked at those numbers,
I figured
they were kind of in my head.
I tweeted it a little bit ago, too.
Oh, did you? Did you tweet that?
I did.
Because I looked, I was having a conversation with my father about it, and he asked that same question, and I looked it up right there for him on at basketballreference.com.
It's not good.
No, it's not great, especially when they have a guy who's their best player on the team who misses
He'll play 60.
games.
He'll play 60 games. Best. I mean,
By the way,
Embiid plays 60.
Embiid shouldn't play any more than 55 games this year. Forget MVP. That's over. It's time to think about postseason.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's why you got Andre Drummond. There's no reason to overplay Embiid. Matter of fact, he should be like JT. He should be off once a week. He should be off Embiid, to be honest. And that is just the facts of life for having a Joel Embiid on your squad. They shouldn't be playing that much. Listen, have I changed my mind on Daryl Morey based on what he did here? No. I still think he's a sick man. I thoroughly believe that any GM worth their salt in any league, especially the NBA, with the money and the assets the Sixers had at their disposal, would have made and been able to make those exact same moves.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just going to say it, Tek, because it's 3 words, and it's probably the truth. Second round exit.
Yeah. Look,
I'm just being straight with you, man. Right. I don't see it. I don't think that Maxey, Embiid, and George will be on the court for more than 40-something games and all.
On paper.
And that's it.
On paper, this looks like a team that is probably able to beat New York on paper. But in actuality, I don't know that to be the case. They're definitely not beating Boston. And to hear people go, well, now at least they can compete with Boston, it's like maybe. Maybe in the regular season they can compete with Boston, but they're a gentleman's sweep. Maybe not. Maybe not, because they took Boston to, 7 games? Maybe it's another 7-game series with Boston. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I don't see them being able to beat Boston.
Neither do I.
And the Knicks, with what they've done, I'm not sure in all reality they're better than the Knicks. On paper, yes, they are. On paper right now, they're the second best team in the East, and they're probably the 5th best team overall in the NBA.
Right.
Maybe the 4th on paper. But that means nothing to me. I mean, I look at what they do in all reality. I'm not going to deny this. Paul George He's a decent fit, okay? But I had an alternative, okay? I had a different plan that maybe I would have considered.
And what would that
Now,
be?
I thought about this, and maybe not. But,
Okay, all right.
okay, but here's something I considered, okay? Because I wanted to be able to sign guys like Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, of course.
and some of these other guys that were available. Instead of winning the Paul George sweepstakes, instead of going that route, trade for Lauri Markkanen, bring Markkanen in.
Okay.
And now, when was the last time the Sixers had the big European white guy that can shoot and play defense? They haven't had that.
Sean Bradley? No, I'm just
exactly.
Kidding.
They've never really had that guy. Okay, so I feel like I would have done that deal. I would have traded for Lauri Markkanen. He's due for the max next year. Fine. Trade for him. And instead of going Paul George, how about for $112 million less, you go sign DeMar DeRozan. So you add DeRozan and Markkanen to Maxey and Embiid, and you bring back Oubre, and boom, there's a solid starting five that's competitive.
I wouldn't have been upset with that.
I would not have been.
You probably
and you would have had
got
more money.
Martin. You wouldn't have got Martin.
Well, you would have had more money. You could have signed Martin. You could have signed Gary Trent Jr., who just went to Milwaukee. You might have been able to sign him.
You might have more depth out of
You
that.
might have been able to really put together a better bench. Right now, the bench is okay.
But you said Daryl Morey's a sick man.
He's a sick man. I think he's a lunatic. He went all in to win the sweepstakes. And look, with everything the Sixers had at their disposal, any GM would have been able to make those same moves.
Yeah.
It's not like he did something so special. He ain't Howie Roseman. I heard my guest could say, "Oh, he's just as good, if not better." That is a moronic statement.
Well, that's goofy. It's also moronic to try to kiss an Aramark worker.
Well, that's the king. And by the way, I'm disappointed. WIP hasn't said anything about this, by the way, and he hasn't been on Saturday mornings.
Well, the kings had concubines in ancient medieval times.
I get it, and why should this king be any different?
Well, that's what some might say, but this is 2025.
I know. This is a different climate, and I don't think this was the smartest move.
To be a fly on the wall.
WIP is going to distance themselves. The Eagles might, relinquish him of his sideline duties, and we might not hear the king on Saturday mornings anymore.
There should be a new show with Elliot Shore Parks and Howard Eskin talking about
that would be brutal.
Talking about dating.
Oh, listen, Howard, right? This generation of Philly sports fan, okay, does not like Howard. They want him gone. He's a relic.
He is kind of a relic to a lot of people our age group.
But the thing
younger,
is,
rather.
I don't agree because Howard says things I don't agree with, but he's more right than he is wrong.
He declined our last invitation because he had a date with a 24-year-old barista.
Oh, here we go. That's not the facts, but I hear you now. You're throwing that out there. Look,
I keyed.
I got love for the king. I'm disappointed in how this is all shaked out.
You took it. You mentioned them. I couldn't. I had
that
to
was
bite.
Spike. I mentioned Spike, but yes, no, you're right.
You mentioned the family name.
Eskin. Yeah, I know. But what Spike said was moronic. He said that Morey is as good, if not better, than Howie Roseman. That is an outright lie. Howie Roseman is a magician. He's a wizard with the cap. And what Morey did, there was no wizardry or magicianship in what he did.
None. It was just the obvious stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The Martin move I didn't see coming though.
Me neither. I like that move.
I like that move.
I like that. It was a
little less sick.
I agree. Listen. I agree. He took advantage of a kid who had an agent. They misread the market, and this was probably their best option. By the way, Gary Trent Jr. should have taken a little less money to come here too. But if the Sixers had more
Trent's
money,
a nice player. That's a nice player.
If the Sixers had more money, they would have been able to add him, and that would have been a big piece. Then I'd be sitting here going, you know what? What Morey did? Listen, I know a lot of GMs could have done that, but getting Gary Trent Jr. really pushed them right where they need to be bench wise. I don't feel that way. They're a Gary Trent level piece away from really being able to contend and get out of that second round.
Sure.
They're still not. I don't know that they get out of the second round.
Well, they haven't really done that.
Paul George hasn't. What history shows that Paul George has done?
Was it really the last time they're out of the second round was AI?
Maybe. And by the way, should be in this organization. He should be in the front
Remember
office.
they had that weird year, I think it was like maybe 11 or 13, where they had like a little playoff run. It was like an isolated playoff run. They didn't get to the conference finals, though. I think they got to the semis. And then they lost. I forget what year that was. It was like a standalone year in the middle of it all. They actually were good right before the process began. I think the last time they were out of the second round was 2001, Tech. I think it's been almost a quarter century.
Well, wait a minute. Were they out of the second round when the Raptors hit the double doink or no?
No.
No, that was the second round.
That was the second round.
You got to be kidding me. The Sixers, listen.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And now the Flyers got Michkov, and I'm sitting here going, you know what? The Sixers are a contender naturally by default in the NBA. The way the NBA is set up, the way the East is set up, they're a contender every year.
True.
You know, as long as they got two players that are all-star level players, they're contenders. But when I say real contender, I mean finals, conference finals, or NBA finals. I'm thinking, who will be a finals level, conference finals at minimum level contender first?
The Flyers.
The Sixers or the Flyers?
The Flyers. The Sixers.
I agree. It's the Flyers.
The Sixers are stuck in an era. They're kind of like they're turning into the Milwaukee Brewers,
where they're there, but they just can't get there.
Yeah,
I hear you.
They're turning into that.
I know.
Their window was when the Bucks and Raps won. That's it.
And people go, oh, the Phillies, they might be the best team now, but Bryce Harper ain't never won nothing. It's like, well, Bryce Harper, don't even put his name in your mouth.
But they're
talk about these other teams. Because Bryce Harper is so far superior from anybody on the Sixers.
Tier. They're in an elite tier as a team, and anybody that can't see that just doesn't know baseball. That's way different than the Sixers situation.
And doesn't know sports in general, to be honest.
Yeah,
because it really grinds my gears when people tell me that the Sixers are going to be a real, like a finals contender before the Flyers, when I'm sitting here going, I just don't see it. Basketball people don't run the team.
No, their chance to do that was, 3-4 seasons ago. It was, and they could have been that year if they would have won that series. They may have gone to the finals.
Yeah,
that year they may have gone. Same with the Atlanta Hawks Game 7 loss.
Year
too.
I'll never let that one go. You don't lose to Atlanta. I mean,
think Ben Simmons is gaming right now. Probably gaming.
Well, you look on his social media. He looks like he's balling out of control. He looks like one of the top ball players you ever seen.
Yeah, Beneman. Unreal.
All right, that's enough. Let's hit the vet line with the Booch from Drunk on Broad next.
Vet Alumni. And now, it's the Vet Line.
Why don't you answer your phone?
Joined now on the Vet Line by BOOCHadelphia from the Drunk on Broad podcast, of course. Tech, check them out.
Yeah.
Booch, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, fellas. I appreciate you having me on. Anytime I get to talk Philly sports, it's one less thing that my wife has to yell at me about. She doesn't want. She's like, you need to talk to somebody else about this because I can't deal with it anymore.
Yo, the honesty is as raw as it gets. I love it. I love it. Well, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, the Phils just wrapped up their best first half in franchise history, which just saying those words is remarkable. The team is loaded. Yeah. We know that you're gonna get some guys back here. Hopefully JT is back and rolling soon. You want to see Ranger Suarez pick it up. The schedule's looking tough out the chute here. What do you expect in August from the Phils?
Well, like you said, they're going to roll right into it. I know they have Cleveland relatively quickly. They have the Yankees relatively quickly. Really right now it's just making sure that these guys are, clicking on all cylinders. They're healthy. I think we're going to get JT back. I haven't heard anything today, but I think you're going to get JT back relatively soon, which is, the domino, the trickle down from that is just going to be great. I think Marshawn's been good and Stubbs is, Stubbs is more.
He is what he is.
He is what he is. And it's, I think it's once you get JT back and healthy and getting these guys, the pitchers are just going to feel more comfortable. Hopefully you'll get, Ranger back on track. Hopefully he's not injured. Hopefully he's just kind of hit a wall a little bit here, but hopefully this time off we'll get him back on track, and we'll be in good shape. I mean, it's July. They're the best team in baseball, but
yes,
it's really this. We've seen it, over the last few years. It's really about how you're playing when it really counts.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
Yeah, they that's the big question is, are they going to go into the postseason hot? I mean, when they went to the World Series a couple years ago, they were that team coming out of nowhere. This year, you could have another team coming out of nowhere because that wild card race is
tight.
Really stacked up. I mean, only two teams are out of it. That's exactly what MLB wanted when they did that.
That's why they did it. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So, trade deadline coming up. We kind of touched on it earlier. What do you want them to do versus what do you think they'll do?
It's for years it was always, the Phillies just didn't have, the talent in the farm system to give up for guys that are, that are the Rosarinas that are out there, the Bellingers that are out there, Robert Juniors that are out there. But like Harp said at the All-Star game, it's about the World Series, but it's about the World Series for years to come. But, that being said, you have to take that with a grain of salt. He's in his 30s, JT's in his 30s, Turner's in his 30s, and Schwarber's right there too. So, Wheeler's getting up there. You just don't know. You have to have the mindset of, you got to put all your chips on the table. You got the World Series a couple of years ago. You came up short last year. I think they absolutely have a better taste in their mouth after last year's playoff. So it's I see both sides of it. You could get a plug-in guy like Tommy Pham, who's a good player, or a Lane Thomas, or you could go for the Robert Juniors of the world. But the thing about that is you have, Robert Jr., he's already proven to be, he's an athlete. He's got an arm. The guy can hit. I mean, he doesn't have the best average this year, but he's also on a very bad team. So, and he's young. So, it's a tough go, but I want to put all the chips on the table. I mean,
I love it. So do I.
Why not? I mean, why not? You got to do whatever you got to do to get over that hump. And you already know what you're getting with him. The Aiden Millers, they're doing great down in the minors, but that doesn't necessarily translate to the MLB game, or even the Painter. I mean, with the small sample size that we saw of Painter, he was really good. But he went down with, a major injury, a major procedure. Yes, he could come back stronger. He could, but we don't know that. We don't know what we're going to get. With these other guys, you kind of already know what you're going to get. So you got to go all in, man.
So no chip. When you mention these chips, no chips are untouchable.
No,
to
Tek. You want to win it. You want to parade on Broad. You don't just want to be drunk on Broad like these guys. You want to parade on Broad.
Yeah, that's right. I hear it. Right. I won't do it. Listen, my top three prospects. I'm telling you, and Painter, I can't move Painter, and I know I get what you're saying. He's a question mark because of the Tommy John, but I just don't philosophically believe in trading young pitchers at this point. Pitching is a premium. I won't do it. Now, we're loaded at shortstop. You can trade one of these guys. I don't prefer to trade Miller. I don't think you need to touch your top three prospects to get a Tommy Pham or one of those platoon
Tommy Pham,
kind of guys. Well, I think they're really interested in him.
He's a nice player.
How about I think they're really interested in him because I don't think that they want to get a Bellinger, Ian Happ kind of guy that has to play every day. They want to get a platoon guy that basically takes the place of Witt. And I don't think they want to go all in on some star player. And guess what?
Does that win a World Series?
But I don't think they even need to win a World Series.
Okay,
to be honest. I don't listen. I'm not going to say I say think. I don't know that they need to.
What do you think? What do you think, Booch? You think that they could win a World Series as they stand now, or just adding a platoon guy, or do you think they need?
I think so. I think so because you have to take into the factor of, are these guys going to just come in and buy in right away?
Right.
You don't know what kind of personalities you're going to get.
Yeah.
You don't know. Some of these guys aren't used to winning. They haven't won before. They've been on bad teams and bad, in bad situations. They don't, the morale's bad. They don't know how to handle those kinds of situations. I'd love to have, Robert Jr. or a big name guy, but they might only need a guy who can come in and spot start, come in and give you a clutch hit or play the field. We really just need somebody who can, you can platoon with Marsh. You need a guy that can.
I think that's what they want. I think that's what they're going for.
They might end up doing that because
I'm okay with that because they were up 3-2 last year. They had 2 games at home. They choked them away, and I don't even like to talk about it because it's too painful.
Yeah, right, right.
It really is because they had it all right there on the
there.
The offense went cold, and the bullpen let them down, which leads me to the bullpen. I feel like that's another. I feel like
that kid from the A's
that
is legit.
they can move some of the top 10 prospects without touching the top 3. They can manage to get a Tommy Pham kind of guy and another bullpen arm.
And I'd be okay with that because that was Mason
that's
Miller. Mason Miller, that his name?
Yeah, but I think you got to go. I think to get Mason Miller, they might be talking a top 3.
That's fine. You're going to win a World Series, though.
But do you really need him?
You've only won 2 in the history of the franchise.
But do you need Mason Miller, like one of the top closers? Do you need him? Or can you just get like a good bullpen guy?
What about the guy from Texas?
Yeah, what's his name again?
Kirby Yates.
Oh, Kirby Yates is phenomenal. Yeah, he's a phenomenal pitcher.
I mean, he's a little bit long in the tooth, but you know what? He's battle tested, and they just won it last year. So he's built for the moment. He's a seasoned vet, and he's still pitching lights out. So that's a guy who's available. And yeah, you're not going to have to give up a top guy for that. So
I don't trust Alvarado, man.
I don't trust him either.
Yeah, I'd be happy with him. I'd be happy with a Tommy Pham or a Lane Thomas.
Right, and then there's another closer, by the way, from the San Francisco Giants. He's not having a very good year, but it feels like
remember that tall guy from the Giants, that 6'11" dude? Well, Jelly.
Yeah,
that dude.
That's the guy
That's the guy I want from the Giants, bro. That dude's he's like Randy Johnson.
Randy, right. Just intimidating standing out there.
Ridiculous. I was taking a double take. He dominated us. That's what I want.
I was like, who is this guy with the stash?
We're not going to see him again either. We're done with them.
Yeah, we're done with them. Yeah, listen, I can see that what I would like them to do and what they will do are 2 slightly different things. But I'm coming down to the David Dombrowski way of thinking. Like, listen, we got a top payroll we got $1 billion payroll with all these guys,
right?
Yeah.
And we don't need to go star hunting. We just need to bring in a guy that can give us what we wanted Witt to give us.
Yeah.
And add a bullpen arm because the bullpen, he didn't do it in the offseason. He didn't really add to the bullpen like he should have. And now you look at Alvarado, he can't be trusted.
I know, man. That's really concerning to me.
Scary. Yeah, it's scary.
And you just got to add to that group because they started out being tremendous, and they kind of.
That's what happens.
They became kind of average.
It balances out. It always balances out in baseball, man. It's a long haul.
Well, you just need to add another because come October, I need a few reliable arms. And Kerkering, I love Kerkering. The moment is too big for him.
Maybe not though. Maybe not
in those big situations, those clutch situations.
You know what? You know Rob's going to go to him.
Yeah, same with Soto. He's going to go to Soto.
The guy that worries me, another guy that worries me too, is Sir Anthony.
Yeah,
he's actually been.
He's been better,
a little bit better, and Soto had a run where he was okay
it's like,
too.
Which one are you going to get?
I know. It's like
we can't have that in the playoffs. We can't have it.
No, you can't have.
You just can't.
No, I agree. Completely agree.
I'm getting nervous now. I'm getting nervous.
Well, listen, that's the thing about Rob, right? I love Rob Thompson's personality and his demeanor, but the one thing I dislike is he becomes a little league guy where he just, I want to get him in.
Well,
I want to show him I trust him.
There's another side of that. Yeah,
it's like, but
that's what it is, though.
I don't want that. I want winning. I want winning.
They might show you why you can trust them when you do that.
Look at the Braves, right? The Braves sacrifice everything for winning. Whether they win or not, they sacrifice. So Chris Sale was supposed to pitch in the All-Star game. He was going to start. He decided, because the Braves decided, that no, we need to start him because we need to win. We're not going to throw away a game.
Right.
We need to win, and we don't care if he's going to play in the All-Star game or not. You need to be able to sacrifice it all for winning. And sometimes Thompson's little league mentality overshadows the move he should make. Let me put Ruiz in. It's like no. Don't. We're down by 1 run. Don't put Ruiz in.
Right. Well, typically he's not the 1 run down guy.
I know, but he's done it.
So, all right, look, you mentioned October. Another team that'll be playing in October has wings on their helmet and wears green. Booch, how excited are you for this retooled Birds, I guess you could say, coaching administration, and also about what the defense could be with some of these newer pieces they got?
Man, it's every, football.
You're overcome with excitement.
Dude, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm fumbling right now. I'm fumbling.
Yes.
Football appropriate.
What are the biggest question marks?
Yeah, there you go.
For me, the biggest question mark is Bryce Huffman every day? Is he a starter?
That's fair. That's number one.
Well, it's fair because the pass rush is crucial to this defense.
Because, I agree.
You lose a guy like Reddick. Yeah, he wanted more. He deserves more money.
He was tried and true. But
seeing all the shenanigans and all the crap that's going on with the Jets, and he's in Japan wearing a costume, whatever, doing dress. I don't know, whatever. But that's for me. I mean, Bryce Huff is a very good player. He's been very productive, but Bryce, he wasn't a starter with the Jets.
No.
Now, he comes over here. He gets paid, and he has a lot of expectations. Can he stop the run? Is he a 3-down lineman? And then how does that affect Josh Sweat? And then you have the conversations too of who do you have behind these guys?
I know.
Their depth at defensive end is a question mark. Is Nolan Smith going to take a leap this year? He's an undersized edge player, but then again, you might have your saving grace in having a legitimate defensive coordinator. So
yes,
it remains to be seen how it all plays out. But God, it definitely gives me a little bit more, a little bit less stress knowing that Nick is kind of passed the reins over to Kellen Moore, and now we actually have a legitimate defensive coordinator who's well seasoned and has success in the league. So I look forward to that. I look forward to the competition in the secondary with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and whatever the hell they're going to do with James Bradbury if he's even going to make the team. And Devin White, he's got a chance to revitalize his career here. And Zach Bond, I think Zach Bond is as of right now is your second.
That's a quiet thing right there, Zach Bond. And I think that he's a good player.
Yeah,
he is, and
he's a Vic guy.
He is a Vic guy. He played that Vic style defense starting at Wisconsin. And then he transitioned over to the NFL and did really well with the Saints last year. So he's a Fangio guy. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air knowing that we have a guy who's actually called plays before in the NFL. So
yeah, and if they can just be average, this offense is phenomenal. They just have to be average on defense, 15th in the league in scoring, and they're going to win 11, 12 games.
Absolutely.
So I heard you rattled off a ton of names, all factors in this.
He left one out.
Yes. How far down on your question mark list is Jalen Hurts?
I wanted to get the defense out of the way, and I listen to sports radio and all the different channels, and I just I just want to I want to jump off a bridge because it's exhausting because they haven't played, they haven't had any real practices. Training camp hasn't even really started yet. You have to see what you have when these guys all get together. He's learning a new playbook, but yeah, this is a massive year for Jalen Hurts. I mean,
huge.
Got paid, got his money. You have Pro Bowlers at literally every position on offense. And productive guy. Touchdowns, yards, go-to guy. I mean, and now you have. A world-class Christian McCaffrey style running back who's going to be there to save your ass. So there's really no excuse for him to not succeed. If he has an average year or a below average year, I mean, I don't know if they would get rid of him. I don't know if they'd pull the plug that quickly, but it's, what else can we give this guy to have, be a top 10 quarterback or a top 5 quarterback or be a guy. Another thing too is, a lot of the issues with the offense and the team last year were self-inflicted wounds, interceptions, fumbles,
absolutely,
not taking care of the ball. And, if he can just clean that up a little bit and make the simple reads and go throw the ball over the middle, it's
please.
He's not great against the blitz. Well, okay, now we have a route tree and we have a coordinator.
Yes.
Who say, look, here you go. Here's choice B. Here's choice C. And by the way, you have Saquon Barkley leaking out of the backfield. So there's
dump it off.
There's no excuse. There's really no excuses anymore for him.
There's no excuse.
Well,
excuses.
But what you're leaving one key thing out, and he drinks a lot of beer. And he probably still wants to play, and his brother's still in the league.
You know what?
You think he'll be back?
No, I mean you don't know his replacement's going to be.
He's probably down at the link right now.
You're probably right, bro. You're probably right, but he's not going to be on the field. And how big of an oversight do you think it is?
Not at all. Not at all.
You don't think it's an oversight about Cam Jurgens taking over?
No, I think he's going to be. Absolutely, there's going to be some hiccups, and they may lose a game or two because of growing pains or mistakes that can cost them the game. But I think with the other guys on that line, they're all veterans. They all know how to win and know how to help each other out.
Yes.
And look, dude, you got Jeff Stoutland, man.
I know, Stoutland, you.
Yeah, he's the man.
Everybody gets an A+ at Stoutland the year, man.
It's true. All right.
Except for Andre Dillard. Go ahead.
I hate to do it, but we have to. Before we let you go, Booch, the Sixers, they listen. Can't deny they made some moves. How do you feel about the moves they made? How do you feel about Daryl Morey? Where are you at with the Sixers?
Well, on paper,
second round exit.
Yeah.
No, look, if it's like it's like Groundhog Day. It really is like because it doesn't matter who you put on this team if your best player isn't there when you need him the most.
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
Matter. So
exactly.
It's Embiid has got to do, and the team has got to do whatever it takes him to be there. When they're getting into the playoffs.
Well, the Olympics don't help.
You want what's that?
The Olympics don't help.
No, they don't, because it's. I understand you want it. You want to win. You want to win for the U.S. and this and that, but it's like, dude, you got to take care of yourself, man.
Yes, I
know. Lose 10 pounds, lose 20 pounds. Get that cardio up. But dude, like, you got to stay off the floor, man.
Yeah.
Right. So give me on that note, give me an over/under of the amount of games, including the playoffs, where you will have Embiid, Maxey, and George all on the floor for the same game. Over/under.
Holy crap! Regular season and postseason.
Everything. I'm going under 42. What are you at?
Are you serious?
You look at Paul George's recent 5 years, he's played like a combined 200-something games. I mean,
he's missed a lot of games.
I'll say 43.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right, lastly, Booch, before we let you go, and we really appreciate you coming on, give us a Veteran Stadium memory.
Oh, dude. Going to the bath. No. Cracks. The cracks in the concrete. Shit dripping on it. Going to the bathroom and not being able to wait in line, having to pee in the sink. Fights in the whole. One fight breaks out in the section. The whole section gets kicked out of the stadium. Got the Judge Seamus down there. You can go down there and get arrested. And I was at the last Eagles-Giants Monday night game.
Oh, boy.
That broke that run, and they won that game. But, dude, there was nothing like the Vet. It was a crap hole. That turf was just horrendous. But, man, you had a home field advantage.
Yeah, you did. That was a great recapitulation of what that place was.
Yes, it was.
And we appreciate it for our listeners.
It was a dump, but it was our dump.
It was our dump.
It certainly was. For our listeners, make sure you check out Drunk on Broad podcast.
Got to.
Great group of dudes. Philly guys through and through. And Booch, we'll catch up with you soon.
Booch!
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Need a better betting app? You need Rhythm.
Rhythm makes it easy to find AI-backed picks and player props for every single NFL, NBA, and game. You can build custom sports betting models or have AI build them for you and start getting recommended bets, score predictions, and more that will help you become a better bettor. Download Rhythm now and start getting free picks daily. Rhythm is the place for data-backed props and picks. RITHMM.
Rhythm is a proud partner of the Vet Alumni Podcast. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's time for Prem's Picks.
These games are a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's unborn children on these games.
It's Prem's Picks. We're back. Where are we now? It's been a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, we're back. Second half of baseball underway tonight. And I'm sitting at 15-15. Clean slate for the second half.
There you go.
After another 2-1 week. I came within one run of an undefeated week.
There you go.
A couple weeks ago. And I got 3 games for you, Tek, that all involve first place clubs.
There it is.
We're starting in the Bronx. The Yankees did not finish the first half impressively at all.
No, they didn't.
Pretty bad.
They fizzled a little bit.
But they're hosting the Rays, and one Zach Eflin taking the mound for the Rays. Garrett Cole going for the Yanks. They know that they are in a tight dogfight with the Orioles.
Yeah.
And I think they come out looking strong at Yankee Stadium.
It makes sense.
I like the Yankees to jump all over Zach Eflin kind of early in this one and take a convincing victory for the fans at Yankee Stadium. Give me the Yankees money line at home tonight against the Rays, and that's a lock. Lock! Our next first place situation game involves the LA Baseball Dodgers hosting the Boston Red Sox. What a great series this is to start the second half.
Yeah.
Red Sox at Dodgers. You know, it's a good pitching matchup. Another game pitting a former Philadelphia Phillies starter, Nick Pivetta, on the road against the first place club. And guess what? I think that with Gavin Stone on the mound in LA, and they didn't necessarily finish the first half too impressively either.
No, they didn't.
I think LA comes out at home and handles business against a pretty solid Boston team. This one's going to be close, though.
Okay.
I think it's a close game. I think the Dodgers win. The Red Sox can score runs. We know that. But Nick Pivetta, something about him, I feel like in games like this against good teams, he's going to give up the big home run. He's going to give up the big double when the Dodgers have someone on base.
Yeah.
Shohei blasted one in the All-Star game.
Yep.
I think Shohei could go yard tonight as well.
There we go.
In L.A. Give me the Dodgers at home against the Red Sox. Lock. Lock. Our last pick of the week involving a first-place matchup involves the Astros going to Seattle to play the Seattle Mariners. What a great series this is. 88% of the picks coming in on the Mariners. Guess what, Tek? The Astros are going to win the game in Seattle. They've been on a tear lately right before the break. They're going to win this division. They're just more of a seasoned club. As much as we hate Houston, you got to call a spade when you see a spade.
Yeah.
You got Hunter Brown on the mound for the Astros. Been a mixed bag, 7-6, but 105 strikeouts. Going against Luis Castillo, also a mixed bag, 8-9, 116 strikeouts. A very good pitching matchup, but I think the hunger of the Astros and the experience in recent second halves will be the difference. Give me the Stros, my only road pick winner of the week. Astros at Mariners. Astros to win. Lock. To recap, Tech, we got the Yankees taking care of the Rays in the Bronx. The Dodgers taking care of those Red Sox in L.A. And the Astros going on the road to the Pacific Northwest, Safeco Field, to beat the first place Mariners. This has been Prem's MLB Picks.
And with that, we'll see you next week.
Vet Alumni.